This is Morning Live. Let's get started with our profile feature. Chris Grobler is with us in studio. Good morning to you, Chris.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you.
Yes.
What's his name again? Kefas, could you please bring that machine that Chris was talking about? There's a silver bag somewhere there that needs to be with us. Good morning to you, Chris, and I hope you're settled. You're good now?
Yes. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Yeah.
What a wonderful morning.
Yeah, so I decided to bring a bag. I think we'll need it. Just bring it, please. Yeah, I'll
There's a whole
need
box of tricks. We can use this one. Thank you.
Yeah. So before we get, that's what we're talking about. So before we actually get into what this is all about,
Yes.
just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from. I know that you're South African by nationality. What's the story? What are you doing in the motherland?
It's my second visit here. Last year I was in Zambia for 6 months consulting for a retail client. And now I'm back with United Brands, which is the wine shops, as you guys might know it. Back for 2 years with a 2-year permit, and I'm here as a teacher. I was born in South Africa in 1964, so I'll be 60 with Zambia next year.
Okay. Nice.
Yes, and in the eastern parts of the country, where they say in Mpumalanga, where the sun comes up.
Yeah.
And then from there, I made my way to Cape Town and got involved in the wine business from a young age of 22 years old. So I've been working in retail, in the wine business, from consulting, from managing stores, teaching people. I was involved in the wine tourism business until COVID arrived and took away all the tourists. So then I'm back. I was back in just selling wine, and now back in Zambia to teach people. I love teaching. I really enjoy wine. I've made 7 wines of my own. We call it garagiste winemaking. It's a French name, which means making wine in your garage.
So why are you trying to be funny, a garagiste?
Garagiste. So, yes, so I'm busy already. I've been here 6 weeks now.
Yeah.
I've already qualified 18 of the wine shop staff to be what we call the beginning of a wine guru, which is what we call our training course that we're also presenting to 2 or 3 hotel groups. I've just signed up. And some restaurants, new restaurant opening, so exciting new project we're busy with. Yeah, so that's what I do.
But tell me, what kind of family do you come from?
Look, in South Africa, all Mzungus are from somewhere else. So my family, my mother and
I like that.
My mother and father's side both came from Germany, I'm told.
Yeah.
I never met them. I've not been to Germany. But I grew up in South Africa. My grandfather was all born in South Africa. My father was a gynecologist, and my mother was an intensive care nurse. So I sort of grew up in a bit of a medical family.
One would have expected you would have taken that field. How did you then go the wine way?
I think they also expected it maybe a little bit too much. And growing up in that time of South Africa, I was a rebel from when I can remember, fighting against my own government, having to go to the army, which I really hated, fighting a war that I didn't believe in. So rebelliousness was something that came with me. Become a doctor, my boy. No, Dad, I'm going to go and sell wine.
You haven't changed that much, eh? I'm looking at that. Look at that.
You were a happy child.
I'm still happy. I only do things that make me happy. Even if sometimes it doesn't make a lot of money, I believe and hope the money will follow. It better come. I'm nearly 60, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us how, because you said you started winemaking at 22, right?
I started working in a retail business in South Africa when I was 22 years old. I had my first daughter. I now have 3 daughters and 2 grandchildren. And so I started in the retail business and very quickly progressed into the buying department. And then from fruit and veg to toiletries, and eventually I found myself in the liquor department. My father's always been a wine collector. So he used to go overseas a lot to lecture on his subject. And I was just 18. When he went overseas, we sort of tried out some of his. We found the key to his cellar, and we started getting involved in
trying his wine.
Yes, he was not impressed. I can tell you that.
Yeah, because I'm sure he was not. He's collecting wine, and it should have been expensive wine, and then you experiment on it.
Yes, yeah, that's not the place to start. But what it did give me was a love for the immense excitement about wine, the exploration, where people, you know, if I drink a whiskey, a nice Jameson, it's next year the Jameson will be very similar. But if you look at wine, there are just in the Stellenbosch area 1,000 wineries. Each one of them grow 5 to 10 different cultivars or wine types. And the whole thing is every year, every vintage, as we call it, is a different condition. So sun is different, the rain is different, the temperature, everything. So the wine tastes differently. So what we do with our Wine Guru training through the wine shop is we teach people just to understand a little bit back. How do you grow wine? How do you ferment wine? How do you age it, and what type of wood? This is one of the types of wood that we use. Comes from France. It's oak wood, and that gives flavors, tannins, and longevity to the wine. But every single year, every single wine changes. Don't take a bottle, I like this one, and stick to that. Find out, come and join us for some training. Find out why you like the Merlot that you like. Yeah. And then you can go and select the ones
I think now people just drink wine and say, no, wine is good for the heart. No, wine doesn't make you gain weight.
It's good for digestion.
There's a lot of truth in that. There's a lot of truth. The first thing is antioxidants, specifically in red wine. You definitely find quite a bit of antioxidants there, which is fighting cancer agent. Definitely not taken in liberation, but I'd say a glass a day cannot do any harm, and it will probably assist with fighting cancer or fighting the onset of cancer. You see, the thing is, there's two distinct categories. In Zambia, I'm finding, after doing about 8 or 10 tastings so far, that the Zambian palate loves sweet. It's not the same, it's not unique. In South Africa, in the south, where we make the wine in Cape Town, there people drink dry wine because they've grown up with the culture of wine. Up in the north, Gauteng, Pretoria, Johannesburg, and further out, people have a sweeter palate, a sweeter mouth, and that's what I'm finding in Zambia. It is a little bit indicative with respect of people that have not explored much into wine, so it's the first thing you're going to enjoy. Your tongue will accept sweet easier. But then if you can get yourself to understand the winemaking process and really get into the drier wines, now you start exploring the different flavor types and the different flavor profiles. And the world
I'll still ask my question, Chris. I know you've given me much detail.
So sugar is something we ferment out. We make alcohol by taking sugar, adding yeast, and we turn the sugar into alcohol. At the end of the process of dry wine, there's zero sugar in there, zero sugar.
So it's a dry wine that has zero sugar, but the sweet wine...
The sweet wine has less sugar. Alcohol, but more sugar. And that's the one, so we start you with sweet, we let you taste the sweet, we combine that with some nice curries and things, and then we pull you over the bridge into the dry wines, and then your world will open up. But sweet wine can also be fattening, of course, there's sugar in there.
Yeah.
Dry wine, no fat. You can even take, we often do this in the mountains when we take tourists into the winelands. You take a Sauvignon Blanc and you use it as perfume. People go, but I'm going to smell like wine. No, you're going to smell like the most interesting flavors, and the bees won't touch you because there's no sugar there.
Ah, okay. Which is the dry wine.
That's right.
So what's the story with people that cook with wine?
Cooking with wine is an interesting thing there. I think some people should understand better that the restaurant that I'm working with right now, the chef is an East African chef, and he wants to cook with wine. But the important part there, and that's again, you're having to understand a little bit about the winemaking process. So if you're going to use wood on wine, then I personally don't think you should be cooking with wine that has tannins in it. So from the wood we extract tannins, and tannins is something that makes the wine last a little bit longer. So a red wine of 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 years is when it starts really becoming nice, if there's a lot of wood in it. But cooking with wood, I believe it creates a bitter kind of taste profile. So take unwooded, you take a box wine, take something that's not been wooded, so it will be your cheaper wines. Wood is expensive. It comes from France. This tree has grown 160 years before we can harvest and start using it. And this is what we make barrels of. Normally, if you have a lot of money, you put your wine in a barrel. If you're a garagist, a cheaper winemaker, you use staves, and you just put this inside a stainless steel tank to extract those tannins and flavors.
And I like your explanation there, because usually when we walk into a shop, I don't know about you, Jason, you're just going to look at whether it's sweet wine or it's dry wine and pick out. But how do you know which wines are good? What I always say is the best wine in the world is the one that you like the most. So if it's for now, if you like sweet wines, then it's the best wine. I'm going to try and teach you and show you how to come away from sweet, because it's a little bit boring. The profiles are not so nice. If you go into dry, let's say dry white, unwooded, no wood, dry white. So now you can start Sauvignon Blanc. It's all different types of grape, but it's all wine grapes. But you get a Sauvignon Blanc, you get a Chenin Blanc, you get Gewürztraminer. There's a various cultivars that have been developed over hundreds of years. We've been making wine for thousands of years. So then just in those, you can now start fruitiness. So instead of going for sweet, I can give you a Chenin Blanc that will give you a guava on the nose. So you're going to smell guava. There's no guava in there. We never put any guava. It's against the rules. It's only Chenin Blanc and a little bit of winemaking process that happened. So you're going to like, I like a guava. Then you're going to go to a Sauvignon Blanc. You start picking up a nose of cut grass, which becomes all these interesting flavors, things that you remember. If I drink a wooded Chardonnay, it sometimes reminds me of when my grandmother was hugging me, that grandmother smell, you know?
Yeah.
But it's something that's
But
in
what
my
are the
memory.
main
You don't
ingredients?
necessarily find the same.
Yeah.
What are the main ingredients, though?
Yeah, I want us to step down a little bit from the wines
Yes.
and get to maybe you mentioned your family in passing.
Yes.
Quickly, you said you had three kids, and your grandchildren now. Are you with your kids? Are you staying still with like your family?
No, my daughter, my oldest daughter Eloise, she's 35 years old now, and she lives in Cape Town. Her husband works sometimes in South Africa, but also like me, he's a welding consultant. So he works in Egypt, Angola, etc., on and off. And her daughter Sky was my first grandchild last year, 18 January. And then my second daughter Vicky is 31 years old this year. And she's also in September the 1st last year, Vion, my grandson, was born. Her and her husband both live and work in Pretoria, where they live with their mom, my ex-wife.
When you're not doing wine, what are you doing?
I go around, I go to Cape Town all the time. It's very important for me to stay connected in Cape Town, to visit the wineries. Remember we said every year...
So if you're not working on wines, you're still doing wines? Because you always go back to wines.
I'm always busy with wine. Every year we make a new season of wine. And that's in January to March, April. So I have to go back September every year to see now the first white wines are coming off, and they'll be opening the bottles and say, how was this year? I need to know that information because I'm advising.
So basically your life is wines now.
That's it. That's what I do. Yeah. And in the meantime, in COVID, I started a wine club because I didn't have any more tourists. So I started a wine club and eventually ended up with 600 people in the club. And from there, that's now still running with my partner in Pretoria.
Yeah.
And now I'm here in Zambia.
What's your favorite dish?
My favorite dish, being a South African, I love braai. I love any form of red meat, but I also sometimes it gets a bit heavy. So I enjoy good curries because I also enjoy wooded white wine, which is a Chardonnay normally. So wooded Chardonnay with a nice flavorful curry. I don't like bony food, but Maggie, my girlfriend, and I really enjoy making food and matching it to wine. And now that's the real challenge and the real interesting thing is for me to teach people around here, which I've already started doing. Some friend of mine made me some goat meat.
You haven't picked up a local dish yet. Yeah.
Absolutely. Goat meat is something I've had 2 or 3 times, and I've found beautiful matches with Cabernet Sauvignon, with even a nicely wooded Shiraz. It's a nice heavy meat, and it's also quite fatty. So the tannins and the meat talk to each other, and it actually makes both of them taste better.
Yeah, we need to go, Msonda. Any other questions? What type of music do you listen to?
I'm a music organizer. It's my sideline business. I've been working in music festivals, 25,000 people level festivals. I'm a blues guy first and a rock and roll guy second.
Do you have a best friend?
Do I have a best friend? I do. My best friend is Dirk Henze. He lives in Amsterdam in Holland, which I visit every year for 6 weeks. As soon as the season breaks, going into winter in South Africa, I visit Amsterdam for 6 weeks. He's coming to visit me in the summertime again.
Are you able to share with us your future plans as we come to the close? In the next 5 years, what is it you want to achieve or do?
Absolutely. For the 2 years now, my mission is to really come to Zambia and pass some of the knowledge that I've had, that I've accumulated. I hope to get deeper involved in some business in Zambia, and to convince the Department of Immigration, who so kindly have invited me, to look at extending my stay here. I am not getting younger, so I like fishing and I like watching birds, and there's so much of it out here. So I really would love to live in Zambia. It's in my old days, and continue consulting and teaching, which I really love, which are the things: wine,
Wine, women, and song.
Yeah. Chris, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I don't know why you decided to pick on wood as something that you're going to bring for the show and not a bottle of wine, but
There's more to follow. I want you to bring me back so I can bring some wine.
oh, some wine.
I'll show you how to chop off the head of a champagne bottle. We
Ah.
call it sabrage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people in
Thanks.
France do it with a sword. I do it with a spade.
Ah.
Because it's Africa.
Yeah. Yes. Thanks a lot, Chris, for your time. Wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, this is Morning Live. Now, starting from the 7th of August, all right, the country's #1 television breakfast show will be having a new feel, a new touch, new everything, all right? And so we'll try and rebrand on quite a lot of things. What we used to call breakfast will just now become the cuisine, right?
Yeah.
So let's just show you a little bit, just a little bit, small, just a little changes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the major change, Jason, is the timing of the show.
Yeah.
So we will be starting at 6. So 6 to 8 instead of 7 to 9.
7 to 9, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to see more of the Sinyangwes wake up early, you know, come for the show. And that's what we'll be doing, discuss NAPSA and all those things. That's one of